Thank you, Toastmaster Jeffrey. Fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, most welcome guests, good evening.
Good evening.
I have a question. How many have a child that got married in their family? How many have a child that got married to somebody from another country? How many have a child that got married to somebody in another country in another country? Wonderful. Well, this year, my son got married on July the 4th. And he got married outside Milano, in Italy. He lives in Milan. Years ago, when he got his master's at NYU, he decided he was stressed out. So I told him, why don't you take time off and go hitchhiking? Kind of joking to him, but he did. He took off and he started hitchhiking through Ireland and through Europe. And what happened was, when he walked down Milan, he said, I'm going to live here. So he met this wonderful lady. Her name was Alice Bertini from Milan. She happened to be a doctor. I don't know how he got this lucky, but he did. So he got married to her on July the 4th. My wife and I took off to go over there, and we did land in Milan, and he was going to have his wedding in Tuscany, a little town called Siena. Anybody ever been to Siena? Mm-hmm. He also was getting married in Sirona. Have you been to Sirona? No. He was getting married on a beautiful castle at the top of this hill in Sirona. Absolutely magnificent. But I would like to show you some clips, if I get this going, which is not my strongest points. Thank you, Jeffrey. There was 90 people at the wedding. There were 25 from Ireland, 25 from here, and 40 from there. It was the United Nations as far as the people that were there. This is my son right here, and this is his beautiful bride. She looks like she's a little taller than him, but she's really not. She has high heels on. This is my wife and I. Of course, she's very worried because I'm talking to this gentleman here. Now, this gentleman here owns about 100 acres of land in Tuscany. And according to my son, don't ask him any questions what's growing on the land. That got me crazy. So I went there just to check it. And I see these massive olive trees, sunflowers. Does everybody understand how the sunflowers work? That the sunflower will always turn to the sun every day. So you can stand there and really just see the sunflower moving so the sun is hitting it. And at the end of the day then, the sunflower goes to sleep. And then in the morning, it's looking to where the sun comes up. It's fantastic. I saw some other trees on that land, but I didn't want to question anything. You see, my son told me when I went over there, he said, Dad, don't make any comments to these people. Don't ask them, did you have a facelift? Did you have any work done? They're not like that. They're not fascists. I said, fascist? What's a fascist? Fascist, he said, is somebody that will either tell you to take it or leave it. Like in America. I said, really? Okay, that's a fascist. Don't be a fascist, he said. This is where the ceremony was. I got to show you, this lady here is from Poland. This gentleman here is from London. This lady here was a gypsy that my son met. He has this thing about meeting people, and for some reason he wanted to bring this lady to the wedding. She's a gypsy. This little lady here is from Finland, and that is her sister. Look at the white skin. This little girl here is my nephew's daughter. My wife is worried there. She's sitting there. This little lady is from Delray Beach. This little child here is from Ireland, and that's his mother. She's from Ireland also. This little girl here is from Santo Domingo. So you can see it was the United Nations. Here we go. We got a family picture. But first, after he came out of the wedding, everybody goes through the spaghetti. And of course they were very excited. Now we had the family portrait. And my wife was here, I was here, bride and groom. This gentleman here is from Ireland. He's a real Mick. He's an antique dealer, and that's his daughter. So it happens that she's a lesbian, and they have accepted it gratefully, and they're very happy what she is. Now, up to our final picture. This is where the ceremony was, right on the hills in Tuscany. It was the most beautiful setting I've ever seen in my life. I did a speech that night, which I'd love to talk about later, because the speech was a kind of a knockout, thanks to Toastmasters. Thank you, Toastmasters, and the Toastmasters that are present here. This thing here puzzled me the whole night. I thought it was a spittoon or something. When I found out afterwards, I went to my son and said, Dave, what's the story with this thing over here? Don't get involved in that, he told me. Don't get involved. I'm a very serious guy with this wedding stuff. This thing here, does anybody know what it is?
Limoncello? Money bag.
One of his friends made this for him, and it had a big slit on it, right over here, and you put the money in there. It was amazing. I was checking it the whole night.
That's why you said
it was kind of, you couldn't get your hands on it. That wedding in Tuscany was so beautiful and so gorgeous that I thought I was dreaming. It was so wonderful that I couldn't believe where I was and what I was. I couldn't believe the friendliness of the people, the smell of the garlic, the smell of the olive oil. It was the smell of something else, but I'm very naive when it comes to all that stuff. I don't know. I often thought about afterwards that not bad for a guy that came off a boat from Ireland, landed in America with $50 to see his son getting married on the beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous, I mean, outstanding hills of Tuscany in Italy.